Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of the most profound and, let's be honest, one of the most difficult books in all of philosophy, Martin Heidegger's Being in Time. So let's just start with this thought because it really gets to the very heart of this entire book. It's a question that sort of challenges the whole point of what we think philosophy is supposed to even do. All right, so Heidegger kicks things off with a pretty massive claim. He basically says that for over 2,000 years, Western philosophy has been busy building this incredible, elaborate house, but it completely forgot to check the foundations. It sounds so simple, right? Almost silly. We use this word constantly. We say, the sky is blue, or I am happy. That is a table. But what does that little word is? What does being itself actually mean?
Heidegger's point is that we've gotten so used to using the word that we're basically numb to the deep mystery behind it. In this whole book, it's his attempt to shake us all awake and get us to feel just how urgent this forgotten question really is.
So, how in the world do you even start to answer a question that big? Well, this is where Heidegger makes a really brilliant move. He says, look, we can't just look for being out there, like it's a planet we can find with a telescope. We have to start with the one being who asked the question in the first place.
And he actually gives us a roadmap for this whole investigation. It's a journey that goes right into the structure of our own existence. We start with the big question of being, then we look at our own being, how we exist in a world, how we face our own end, and finally, how all of that leads us to the nature of time.
So, for this being, the one who asked the question, he comes up with a special term. It's probably the most famous word from the book, Dasein. It literally just means being there.
And yeah, that's it. Dasein isn't some weird, abstract, philosophical thing. It's you. It's me. It's any of us who has ever worried about our life or wondered what our purpose is. Any being who is fundamentally concerned with the fact that it exists. Now, when Heidegger analyzes Dasein, he uncovers some incredible things about us. We aren't like a rock that's just sitting in a room. Our very nature is to be in the world, totally tangled up with it. We're thrown into a life we didn't choose, but at the same time, we're always projecting ourselves into the future, into our possibilities. Our essence isn't some fixed blueprint. Our essence is our existence, what we might become.
But if you follow this path of analyzing our own existence, it always leads to one stark, unavoidable feature of our lives, one possibility that hangs over all the other ones.
Heidegger argues that our entire life is shaped by the fact that it will end. He calls it our being towards death. And this isn't just something that happens at the very end. It's this insuperable possibility, the one thing that ends all other possibilities, and it's a fundamental part of who we are right now, coloring everything we do.
Okay, so after that long, intense journey into our own existence, through our world, towards our own death, Heidegger finally circles back to the original question about being. And the answer he points to is just breathtaking. See, the reason philosophy was stuck for 2,000 years is that it was looking for the wrong kind of answer. Being was never going to be a thing you could point to, like a chair or a star or a molecule.
Instead, being is more like the background condition for everything. It's the open space, the horizon, that lets any individual thing show up for us and be understood as a thing in the first place. So what is that ultimate horizon? What's the final context that makes everything, all understanding, all meaning, all existence, possible? As Heidegger asks right here, it's time itself. So there we are. We've hit the philosophical peak. We have the answer. Time is the horizon of being. But just as we're letting that sink in, we find out the most famous and, frankly, the most shocking fact about being in time.
That's right. The book that basically redefined philosophy for the 20th century is a fragment. It's unfinished. He had a whole second half planned out to complete the project, but he never wrote it.
I mean, as this quote from a modern edition puts it, what we have is a torso. Eventually, Heidegger himself went back and removed the first half label from new editions, pretty much admitting that the book would always remain this way. But why? Well, he came to believe that the entire goal of the project, to capture the total meaning of being in one complete, systematic book, was actually impossible. The truth of being, this huge, open horizon, just couldn't be trapped and contained in a closed system.
And this, right here, this is the final, absolutely mind-bending lesson of the whole book.
Think about it. What if the fragment isn't a failure at all? What if it's the ultimate expression of his philosophy? The fact that it's incomplete shows us the very idea it's trying to talk about, that the journey, the path of thinking, that's the real destination.
This just totally reframes what philosophy is all about. It's not about finding some final definition you can write down and put in a library. It's about the practice, the lifelong process, the art of holding the question open, of learning to ask it in a deeper, more meaningful way.
So all of this brings us right here, to the very end. That incredible journey Heidegger started back in 1927. It doesn't just come to a stop on the final page of his unfinished book.
You see, he didn't fail to finish the book. He succeeded in reawakening the question for all of us. He showed us the path. And then, by leaving it open, he essentially hands the whole inquiry over to every single one of us. In the end, the question, it belongs to you.